Welcome to the Pharma Sales and Tech Podcast. Tune in to stay informed, inspired, and connected with the world of pharma sales.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is your host, Stefan, with Platforce here, and our podcast, the Pharma Sales and Tech Podcast, where we interview the best of the best in terms of marketing and sales in the pharma world. And today I have a wonderful guest who finally I have someone doing marketing, because it's always sales, market access. It's, for me personally, it's really, I have warm feelings, I have fuzzy feelings, because I will be talking to Hazem Sayed, and he works for bioMérieux, and he is covering several markets as a marketing leader, about which I'm very excited to learn about his experience and learn from him. So Hazem, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen, so much. So happy to be here and so excited for this podcast.
Awesome. So listen, tell me more about give me a little bit of an intro about your position in the company. So like you're sort of targeting several markets, right? Like from,
Yeah.
because I know you're in Dubai. Tell me more
Yeah.
about where you go and what you're.
Okay. So now I'm marketing manager for bioMérieux. I'm responsible mainly for a line called molecular biology. So bioMérieux, it's a French-based company and it's a market leader in diagnostic field. So in microbiology and molecular biology, in all this field of, let's say, diagnostic, covering, let's say, a huge region of around 25 countries, which is called Middle East, Turkey, and Russia. And Middle East here, it's about of, let's say, Gulf, Levant, including Pakistan as well from Asia, and Caucasus area, and Turkey and Russia as well. So yes, it's a big region, but it's really exciting to work with different, maturity markets, different level of maturity. You experience all level of, let's say, marketing degrees of strategy implementation in each market. Each market is different than the other. So it's pretty exciting to work with different region and with different maturity grades in marketing and in product adoption as well. So before bioMérieux, I was working in Sanofi as well in pharmaceutical field. So I merged between pharmaceutical and IVD, which is vitro diagnostic. I was a marketing manager in Sanofi. And before marketing manager, I was a brand manager. And before that, I was a project manager. So I experienced a good career in Sanofi. And before that, I was in AstraZeneca. And the first company I joined, it was Janssen. So we started from Janssen, AstraZeneca, Sanofi. And then I decided to move to IVD companies after COVID, when all people know about diagnosis now and the importance of diagnosis. So I found that it's a good opportunity to learn about this market and this area. Yeah. So about my job, it's marketing strategy development. So I'm developing the marketing strategy for my cluster, implementing it, executing it with the teams. I have a team of 2 marketeers, one in Russia and one in Turkey. And as well, I'm collaborating with all the stakeholders here from sales, medical, compliance. But the more point let's say the extra point I added to my career path in this industry, which is IVD, is that I'm dealing more and more with distributors. So in pharma, we don't have that much of distributor. We have our sales team, but now we have a more of influential leadership also in distributors, because most of my area is covered by distributor-based model, except Russia and Turkey was covered mainly by bioMérieux as subsidiary. So yeah, it's exciting moving between the 2 industries and experience different level of marketing tactics and techniques in my career. Yeah.
Okay, this is really good insight. So you mentioned something about like different markets have different approaches. Like, so you're targeting what is Russia, Turkey. Can you share maybe some specific examples, and please be as specific as possible, about like some marketing strategies? You mentioned that you're leading marketing strategy tactics, about something that you've implemented in different markets. Maybe you could do 2 examples, so like our listeners could understand the difference in approach and could learn.
Yeah. Sure. So if we talked about Middle East, we're talking about, let's say, Gulf countries, which is a bulk of Middle East I'm working with. So if you talk about Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, most of these countries are sharing the same platform or sharing the same purchasing power, and with some very minimal differentiation between them, but more or less are the same in let's say marketing tactics and the strategies. So we mainly go with let's say, market penetration in this market. It's easier for registration. We don't have really local competition in this market, especially with IVD industries. Maybe it's different in pharma nowadays with local manufacturers start to emerge and merge more and more in this market. But for IVD, it's mainly based on export from outside. So it's mainly you have the competition, but from international competition, like always. So there is no local, let's say, manufacturing from IVD. So it's completely different strategy where you go somehow with premium price because it's export based, and the economy of the country help you with going with this premium pricing, and the insurance policies in these countries as well is favoring that, and you have a very, let's say, strong and robust insurance coverage in these countries. So it's different than going, let's say, to Turkey and Russia. Turkey and Russia, you have a local manufacturing, a huge local manufacturing there, where you are competing with some companies that may be supported by the government because they want to encourage their local manufacturing. And that's completely the rights. If I were them, I would really push for local manufacturing. So you are mainly here talking about the quality of your product versus the local manufactured one, and talking mainly about, let's say, the added value of your product, where the, let's say, technical performance of your machine, of your solution versus others local manufacturing. You're trying to adopt somehow by having some parts of your products maybe local manufactured in the country, so you can decrease the cost of your products. So it's two completely different strategies than what you are applying in Gulf. If you go to a market like Pakistan, where the country are facing a lot of pandemics and a lot of epidemics more than COVID, like dengue, like whatever the epidemic that we see in Pakistan. Yes. So you go differently with a charity, even hospital. So you put part of corporate social responsibility in that, because you are responsible in front of the patient, you are responsible in front of all your end customer, that you need to provide the best solutions that you can with the country that really deserves to have this support. So you play part of social corporate responsibility, and sometimes they give, I'm not going to say charity because it's not really pure charity, but you're giving a price that really can afford, and every patient can reach out to the premium solution that you can offer, and you can help the country to get over this epidemic and the infectious disease that you have. You have huge issues with infectious disease, so you're trying to do your best to do that. So it's completely different, let's say, marketing strategies that sometimes you go with market access. So in Gulf region, we start to invest more and more in market access, because we are receiving somehow rejection from insurance after COVID, because most of the government are paying too much in COVID, and most of the government will not really we're reimbursing everything about COVID 100%, especially in Gulf. So they paid a lot, and we understand that they are suffering somehow from financial issues. So they are going very, let's say, deep negotiation with pricing and reimbursement. So we're trying to go with market access and to understand that, and to influence the guidelines, and to influence, let's say, the decision makers about the value of our solution, not just price versus price. So we're talking about value-based model, not price-based model. So yeah, it's completely different, I have to say. So this is like a general example of how we approach each market of the region differently.
So basically, you're saying that we're investing more into market access. It's actually aligns a lot with what I'm hearing from other guests as well. Market access starts to play a bigger role, and also the value-based model. That's also something very, very common
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. We're even developing something called value-based training. So our training is not merely about product specs or product features and benefit. No, now we are moving to the next step or next degree, that we need to train our people on the value based of our solution, because we found that yes, our governments are really keen about the budget, but when they see the value based of the solution versus the value based of other solution, when they see the quality and the quality of life, they start to put this in perspective. So they are experts now, even in the governmental side, they are so much expert in the market access and pharmacoeconomics or cost effectiveness models. They are expert in that, and they respect if you're going and talk with them about the cost effectiveness model of your solution, than just price versus price or value versus value. What is the cost effectiveness of the full solution? They're respecting that. They understand that. There's a good calibers now in most of the governments that we're dealing with that they really understand this language. So we're trying to adopt it, yes.
Okay. I have a question. So our guests don't know, but I've asked Hazem about CLM. And CLM, for those who don't know, it's basically an automation used for marketing. It's called closed loop marketing. And while traveling in Asia, I've seen that not many companies actually use the benefits of a closed loop marketing like system automation, which I found incredibly useful since, well, as many of you maybe know, I came from the SaaS world, software as a service, where basically marketing automation is everything, and where basic content plays a very, very big role in educating, in our case, doctors and medical representatives, right? And my question would be, so you obviously get data like doctor data and other sort of data and analytics. And basically, how does that help you and how do you use that data to improve your like marketing efforts, marketing strategy?
So I'm 100% agree that, and this is my belief that the marketing without data is like you walk blindly. So if you walk blindly, you don't know the customer, you don't know where you are hitting, you are losing resources. Resources here is not mainly people or budget, it's you're losing as well time and effort on them, where you can really better utilize it. So without data, it's like you're working blindly. So we are using in some markets CRM. So it's CRM, let's say it's the first step of, I think it's more even advanced than that, more than CRM, but CRM for us, it's really quite enough at this level. So I'm going to talk about that how we deal with data across even pharma or across an IVD, the industry, but the data, how much data is really important to us. So that is really giving us insights of where we can best utilize our resources based on this data. So you have this amount of money that you need to invest, but which market and which product line that you need to invest more than the other one. So based on this data, that gives you the opportunity. So CRM giving us even the opportunity percent. So let's say success rate of this opportunity based on the input that we put, like tenders, like how many competitors in the tenders. Based on many inputs that we put in CRM, it gives us output of the percent of success in this opportunity. So you can really base on that and deciding which having the higher grade of success, and you go and invest on that. Does it really eliminate the part of human perception or let's say human judgment? No, but it helps you a lot. So sometimes the system is giving you a percent of success, but you think or you know from your experience in the market that yeah, it can work, but this is a factor that you cannot really input in the system that will not work, because people say that, okay, systems are nice and that are nice, but we know the market better than that and we can take our decision better than that. It's yes and no. So it has to be combined together. We cannot depend 100% on the data and system, and we cannot depend 100% on our perception of the market or our experience and expertise in the market that we're dealing with. So we have to combine both together in order to take the right decision of investment, the right decision of utilization of resources in terms of time, money, people, FTEs, everything. And I had a good example on that. So if I can share it with you here in the podcast. So
Sure, go ahead.
in my previous work in pharma, and so we used to have a line that it was like a backbone of the business unit. And if you look at that, you will say that for sure I would put all my resources in this line because it's the backbone of this business unit. And I have to put the resources, I have to put the people, I have to put the money there. But at the same time, there was a new launch of a new product that came into this pipeline. It's not really a game-changing launch, but it's a product launch that it can give us some revenue. So I was requested as being a marketing manager is that how to manage between the two lines. Here is the backbone that brings us all the money, and here is the product launch but we cannot really put extra FTEs on that. So we need to manage within the FTEs that we have right now.
Okay.
So what we did is that we go into discussion, we go into market surveys, we go in so many steps to understand how much of the resources we really need in this product that really act as a backbone of the business unit. And by asking question, and based on our experience, based on the data that we get from the market research, from the system that we have, CRM system at that time, we found that whenever you apply a specific guidelines, okay, it's a risk management guidelines inside the hospital, and you are making sure that this hospital is compliant 100% on that, you can easily leave this hospital without a sales rep that covering this hospital, because once it's 100% compliant with this risk management, if any healthcare practitioner didn't really oblige by these guidelines, there might be a legal responsibility on that. So
Mhm.
once you are sure that it's 100 compliant, then you can leave this hostel freely, which just follow up every couple of months or every month. Just a follow up that that you make sure that this hostel is really on track and nothing deviated. And we thought that we can save FTEs by doing that. So it was like a different degrees of project based on the data that we had from the sales, let's say sales visit to the each type of hospital that has the guidelines implemented. And we find that the sales, it was like organic sales, organic because it's already implemented 100%. So there is nothing to do extra mile.
Yeah.
So just the organic growth of this hospital. From this data, we know that if we left it just for a follow-up, then we can utilize these FTEs in the new line. And we did that. So we even make 100% replacement of the FTEs with the digital marketing. So instead of having someone to go and visit the hospital, no, we'll compensate all of that with emails, with WhatsApp, with webinars, with all of that. Yeah, thank you. So we take it even to a different direction, that we apply this go-to-market model to the full business unit. How can we use the digital marketing? And we use it really in a very, very, let's say, granular analysis, that each email, we did this analysis with our business intelligence team, how much each email represent in actual visit. Like if I send this email, how much it does reflect in the actual visit. And for example, if we say that one email equal zero point 0.2 of actual face-to-face visit, that's mean you need to send 5 emails to get one actual face-to-face visit. So it was like that. It's for sure the percentage. It's not up to my mind right now, but just an example. And email was different than webinar. Email was different than, let's say, SMS or WhatsApp. So we did all of that. So we started first on one line. And then we said, why not to apply it as a go-to-market model for this business unit overall? So we did all of that for the go-to-market model. And we best utilize our FTEs to the best line on product line that can really need people face-to-face. But for this line, we thought that as long as, and we put it in phases, this phase will complete the guidelines in this type of hospital, and then we will shift it completely to digital, and the next phase will complete the guidelines, this group of hospital, and after that, we're gonna continue with digital. And it worked. So we saved FTEs for the new launch, which was successful, and the new line, the old line, which is the backbone of the business unit, it continued growing, and it worked. So it's all started with the data that we had from the system. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you this. Let's say the models I've used before, like it's called like lead scoring. So in our case, that would be like maybe doctor scoring. So each engagement, you would give it a point, 0.1, 0.2. So let's
Yeah.
say if a doctor visited your website, well, don't know that because of GDPR, but you can know that if the doctor opened 3 of your emails, there is certainly he's more I would call the word indoctrinated with indoctrination in this case. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the same goes about webinars. Like if you ask them to subscribe to the webinar, so then of course you will know that certain doctor or medical rep will be there. Then again, you can sort of increase their lead scoring model, their number, which means technically it means that they are more of your ambassador. And
Yeah.
this is a popular model. And to be honest, I don't know why like yours truly innovational, I guess, because you're the first person that who I'm talking to who actually knows how this works and actually uses it. Digital is very, very like outdated in terms of pharma.
Yeah.
So
It
thank
is.
thank you for being. a guest here. It's like I hope our audience can learn a little bit from Hazem on this one.
Thank you.
Because people don't, even if they buy Vivas and IQVIAs, they still don't know how to use a seal.
Yeah,
Like, I'm like, Jesus, guys, you can save so much time. You can save from your sales force.
yeah,
So they don't go out there, like, just ask for a meeting every 3 or 4 weeks. Those doctors will be like, oh, again, this guy, again, this lady, you know? You
exactly.
can use digital marketing to like nurture them, nurture their relationship with online as well.
I can have a comment on that because it's in
Sure.
pharma. Because I started my career in sales, so I was using that in sales, and which sales are actually the people who input the data to the CRM and this system, and then you analyze it as marketing. I noticed one thing, and I was taking care of it when I was a marketer, that when you try to complicate the process of inputting the data and requires too much data, I know that too much data is very important, but there's a very thin line between in, enough data and too much data. So this is thin line. If you cross it, then sales team will be bothered, will be bold about using the system, and you will find the input are not really qualitative enough. So, and based on input, you will get the output, which is really not matching the reality and not matching the real ground, what's happening. So try to simplify the input that sales team are putting in the CRM. So you get quality of data that you can base on it. You don't need to get everything at once, but start simple with simplifying the process to the sales team, because simplifying will give them power, and try to gamify it, or let's say encourage them by whatever the reason that they can go. Don't consider it's a part of their job and we pay them for that. Yes, but they will find a way to put or get an input data which you don't think it's matching the reality, or it's not really quite qualitative. So try to simplify it so you get the quality data that you want from sales, and based on that you will get an output data which is high quality that you can depend on it. This is the main message of CRM or any marketing tools.
Okay, so I'll tell you this. Yeah, so I don't know if you watch Netflix or not. I watch it sometimes. Well, there is this movie called Painkiller. It's about
Yeah,
oh, okay, watch.
just watch it and doing one of my slides. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I was flying from what was that, from the Philippines, and we were in a conference, met conference, and then I started watching it. I was like, wow, it's really good. It basically shows the outside world of pharma or non-pharma people, and why I'm bringing this on. So for our listeners, it's about Painkiller. It's a series, very short. It's about Purdue Pharma who created OxyContin and how they marketed and sold the drug. It was really innovational at that time, and now because of, well, allegedly they started the opioid crisis in the United States, and allegedly that was one of the reasons that pharma regulations became very, very strict in terms of like bribery and so on in the US and in the whole Western world. Now, what we're seeing is that, for example, as far as I know, if a sales, as a field rep goes to a doctor in the United States, in the Western world, he or she is not even allowed to use notes, to make even notes. And that is a big burden in terms of like data. You don't have whatever he or she remembers after the call, they might use it, but they're not allowed to make notes. This is like
Yeah.
ridiculous, because I don't know what the regulations in the countries you are leading with, but basically it cuts out all the data. Like, you want to sort of nurture digitally the lead, but if sales does not bring you data from the field regarding what that, we're not even talking about what the sort of drugs that does the doctor prescribe. We're talking about what sort of content would the doctor consume to make an educated decision. So my question would be here: how do you go about this? Like, if like sales force doesn't bring you like enough data to sort of categorize and nurture these, what do you do? Do you have a workaround?
So I can say that what I'm currently thinking right now is that because in my new field, we don't really have a sales team that working with our, let's say, premises. As I said, it's distributor-based model, so we mainly depend on the sales team of the distributor. So I'm trying to help as much as I can to get the right data for that. So one thing, it can go also with some digital platforms. So there is a digital platform they applied here and they start to even go further and further in Europe and US, which is like, if you can simplify it, it's like Facebook for doctors. So it's
No.
a social platform, but HCPs only, and they are making sure that whoever registers there, it's an HSP. So
I'm sorry. Can you give me a
yeah,
few
it's
minutes
going.
just for the
It's
hour?
it's called it's called Mid Synapse. Okay, this is actually the name here in the region.
Mhm.
I'm not really affiliated with them or something, but so I just sit with the people and I saw the platform. I know that they are progressing more and more. So it's like a social network for doctors where they go interact with each other. And there is even pages that can be sponsored by pharma companies or IVD companies that you can push your content there and to see the interaction with the doctors there. So I tend to believe that people behind the keyboards are more realistic than meeting them face to face. So behind the keyboard, they get all out of inside their chest outside. So you know them better and better from behind the keyboard. So from the level of interaction, from the level of the discussion, I have to say that I didn't get to the level of being on this platform, but just giving the audience an insight that there might be another platform that can work like that. So you can get an analysis how your KOL and how your doctors are interacting on a scientific content, because it's easy to be interacted on a laptop, mobile. So once you are making it easier, it doesn't need face to face, then you'll find it's more interaction, more interaction. So this is one part. The other part is you go by yourself. So yes, so at least, yeah, it's not easy, but I tend always to believe that marketeers are the voice of the customer inside the company. So your customer, the marketeer are the only one who is defending the voice of the customer, who is transferring to the management, the customer to what they are saying, because you're seeing the customer differently than sales even. So you're seeing him as a long-term relationship. You're seeing him as a long-term, let's say, business and even personal relationship with him. So you tend for a long relationships and sales, which are mainly focusing on short-term relationships. So when you go and visit a customer by yourself, it will never be compensated by anything else. So marketeer has to go visit the customer, at least to the top of them. If you find that the sales are not giving you a quality of inputs, or even if you find that the sales are giving you quality of inputs, your perspective and your opinion and the vision of the customer feedback are really valuable to what you're doing. You cannot base your market strategy based only on sales input and sales opinion. You have to go check with the customer, talk with them, meet them in a conference, meet them in seminars, start discussion with them. And from them, you're going to know and you're going to enrich your strategy more and more and some more alteration to your strategy and your tactics. So this is the way. So mass action, it will be sure if you are not really see that sales are giving the quality. One part is that I have to comment on that is, yes, it can happen that the sales team cannot, you think that it's not a quality input, but again, there are the people that work with you and you have to let them know what is the outcome. Sometimes sales are disengaged from the process because they don't know, if I brought all of this outcome, what will be the result? They are disengaged from that. They are disengaged from what's happening in the office.
Yeah.
So they have to see the full process based on your outcome, based on your input that you put and you give it to me. That happened. This strategy has been altered. This tactics has been created or cancelled or modified.
Mhm.
And we will aim to do that and that and that. If they kept disengaged, I just give them tasks that I need this input, I need this feedback, I need this, but they didn't get the end result. You will not get the quality because you don't see it. If you don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't own it. So they have to own the process. They have to know that their role is very critical, and without their input and without the quality data that they provide, we cannot really support them back in the field. We will be talking in two different levels. I'm speaking over the cloud as marketeers, and you're speaking in the ground, and you think that marketeers does not understand what's happening. But if you connect these dots, then you will find that the input and the quality of input they give, it results in a better support for marketing and for management to their customers. Yeah. So I believe it come in number one first, and then come to social media, or let's say digital platform. And then it comes to that you have to go and visit also your customer.
Okay. My question would be this. How do you apparently you're very good with technology. Like, how do you stay up today to the latest technology and innovations in, let's say, marketing for pharma, sales for pharma? And what's your input on ChatGPT?
Okay. So I will answer the first part, which is how I keep the technology and I keep it up with the technology. So honestly speaking, or let's say, frankly speaking, it's like when I was working as sales, I didn't ever want that a doctor close his door in front of my face, because if you think that I will not add anything to his, let's say, practical life or clinical practice, then I will not come actually to visit him. So I have something to add. And I wanted him all the time to believe in that. So when I'm being a marketeer now, I never close the door in front of any marketing agency to come and speak to me and tell me what's new in the market, because they speak with all the marketeers across the industry. I don't have the time or chance to speak to all these people in the industry, but they do that because it's their work. So they know the latest trends, they know what's happening, and it's one of the easiest way to learn is to learn from your competitors and from your peers inside the same industry. So this is one thing that I never close my door in front of marketing agency, even if I will not work with them, but I wanted to know what's the new trend in the market, what's happening with the market, how the people are trying to reach their customer more and more. So this is one part. The second part is that I'm active on social media. So it has good and bad. So whatever the platform, yeah, I might not be participating, but I keep watching. So I keep watching even Pinterest about the new idea of, let's say, the creative. It's all come to get together. There's a new trend in internal decoration. That means there's a new trend of people flavor of, let's say, design. That means that there's a new trend, and that it's all collecting and resulting in something new together. And that keeping up with all the new trends, that is really the, let's say, the life from up to you. So you have to be updated. You have to keep up with all the trends, even political trends, because it gives you, especially with working with multinational companies and covering multi countries, you have to be updated with all the political situation as well. So it's like that. You have to be open to all the resources that is available with your hand. You have to find time to read. You have to find time to watch. So all these trends are really acting as fuel for our thoughts and give you a new perspective, give you a new plot. The second point, which is regarding ChatGPT, I have to say I'm using it mainly in my personal life than professional life. So mostly of organization now, they are not really trusting the privacy of ChatGPT. So they banned their employees from using ChatGPT. You don't, you cannot try give me an ideas of market strategy for this pharmaceutical brand or this brand in this type of customer and this population, because they think still the privacy is not really captured and it's not really proven that it has a private, and it can be organizational privacy or brand privacy can be transferred between many organizations. So we are banned from using ChatGPT, and I understand this point, but I'm using it in my, let's say, life. So if I'm writing a LinkedIn post that I want to target some people out of, let's say, organization that I'm working with, something professional that I believe, and it's my personal opinion, I go to ChatGPT and it's write it in more professional way with the population that I want to influence. Like I decide the age and decide all of that part. And yeah, I'm using it more personal or professional network that I have than in my professional life, because it's a company policy not really put ChatGPT in place right now.
Awesome. Okay, so I have that is going very well, but unfortunately, I have just one last question for you. So,
Yeah,
if you
sure.
if you had to give some advice to like pharma companies on marketing slash sales strategy, what would that?
It's, you have to listen and communicate. It's cliche thing, but this is the core job of marketing. You have to listen to your customer, to your sales team, to your brand team as well. You have to listen to them. Sometimes we think that marketing has to lead all of that. Yes, we're leading some run team by influential leadership because it's our management under our management is a brand. But without those people that listening to them, you might get an idea and different perspectives that you didn't think of. And communicating. So communication is all about marketing is all about communication. You have to communicate to the sales team what you're thinking of, so they don't think that this is the dilemma. And let's say between sales and marketing, sales are always thinking that marketing are over the cloud, and the marketing always think that sales are really looking just next day or this day only. No, it's not like that. We both work together, and it's just about the communication between both of us. You have to know what's our objective and why we're doing that and why we're asking for that. And they have to communicate what's the support they need from us. So if you keep listening from your team and from outside, even the organization, from your customer, for sure, from your customer, and keep communicating, that will help not to put yourself in silo or put your team in silos and start work on silos. That will never help you as a marketer first to develop your career as a marketing or for the organization. So
Awesome. Thank you, Hazem, for this podcast. Hopefully, we can meet a year time and re-record this with new insights and knowledge for our listeners. Thank you, our listeners, for listening to this episode, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.